We're Paul Brodie's today for the firing up of Excelsior number 2, the 1919 Excelsior board track racer. Now Paul is very serious about this, and this antique engine, he's even putting one in a road racer, which he's going to run in modern road racing. Battle of the Twins. Makes a lot of horsepower. This is the next prototype. Paul has remade history with these. The bikes disappeared in 1920, and he's built 2 so far. We're going to fire up number 2. Well, we're just doing a little final valve adjusting here, getting it ready for the big light up. Tom is the fastest man in this garage. Over 180 miles an hour in a Triumph Triple at Bonneville this year. And he's going to go 190, maybe 200 miles an hour next year.
He's going to give it a try. Okay.
But I found, I got a hold of some of the drawings, I got a hold of all the info. You know,
and the color, the green one you got, was that there's some controversy, I understand.
To be honest with you, the original color is about like baby shit.
Yeah,
so
it's what Paul didn't like.
None of us
so
have really had the balls to spend that kind of money on a motorcycle and painted that ugly color.
Because you really need a long open space. It doesn't have any brakes right now.
Right.
Oh, wow.
And there's no clutch.
Wow.
There's no transmission. Once the engine starts, you are rolling.
And then how do you
stop it?
A man with many hats.
First, you didn't get a red part.
Welcome to Flashback Fabrications, official startup party of Excelsior number 2. This bike will be leaving shortly. It's going to go to Holland. I started this project in April 05 and I finished number 2 last week, so you can see that it takes a little while and it's a labor of love. This is a 1919 replica and there's no existing known bikes that were from the factory, which were the races. And 1919 was basically the height of the board track racing. Basically, you've got a big motor and you stuff it into an oversized bicycle frame. You take off the brakes, there's no clutch, no transmission, so it's one hell of a ride. They were loud and fast, they went over 100 miles an hour, and the public loved it. At a regular race, you'd get 15,000 spectators, and at the championship races, up to 30,000 spectators. You had all the factory teams. Back in those days, it was the big 3, Indian, Harley-Davidson, and Excelsior. Indian was the biggest, Excelsior was the underdog. And the racers were basically like rock stars back then because the public who followed this racing, they basically knew all the racers' names and what went on. All the board tracks were made out of pine, and a typical board track took 35 box cars of pine and 1 box car of spikes. So you can imagine how large these tracks were. Some of them were 2 miles long. They had straights that were 200 feet wide, and the banking was at 60 degrees on the end. If you fell off, you got a lot of splinters. That was the least of your troubles, and often there was a loss of life, and that's what ultimately ended board track racing, because there was too much of a loss of life. It wasn't only the racers, it was the spectators as well. It's 85 years later now since board track racing ended, and obviously there's still interest because you are all here. So I thank you for that. Everything's on.
Way to go.
Thank you.
Congratulations on number 2, sir. Well done.
I think this sounds healthy, doesn't it?
It does, actually. I guess you got to tune mine up now, right?
Well, we need to rework your carburetor, I think.
Okay, we'll do that.
We'll talk.
Sure. Yeah.